I am sitting with your man, not your boy, Mr. Go Black to Africa. How are you today?
I am doing very well. How are you doing?
I'm great.
Good, good.
So I always like to go back to your childhood. So can you remember clearly what your life was like when you was a child? And did you grow up in a home that promoted love for our Black people?
Very good question.
Thank you.
I grew up as a military brat. For those who don't know, my dad was military, so we did a lot of traveling. And in that travels, I was born in Africa. My sister was born in Germany. My other sister was born in Denver, Colorado. My brother was born in St. Louis. So we have been traveling everywhere.
Yes.
But in that, because I was born in the 60s, to answer your question, we were always surrounded by Black and community. And so I grew up in a household who really focus was about Black, you know. And though that, I was raised with let's say with an iron fist from my mom. She was a very disciplinary woman. I think as a child, I kind of misconstrued what love was, but how we performed back then as a unit of a family. I know my folks and them did the best that they could to raise us. So, this Pan-Africanism and this, Black power thing was not necessarily a vocabulary in our household, but we demonstrated our love by being a one unit family. So, so that's how I was kind of raised.
So we watch your content extensively, and we know that you like to go country hopping in the continent of Africa.
Yeah.
Now, with each country that you travel to, what resounding messages do you always feel is for you or for your heart?
What is the message?
Yes.
Well, there are many messages in my travels. And I'm always amazed to see how people just live their lives. How different people are, but how similar we are.
Yes.
And so, especially being in the motherland, it educates me all the time when I see just the different ways of life. Because coming from America, it's either, you get in and you got to make for yourself. Here, in a sense, is a little different, in Africa, because there is that community in a sense. And, here it's about when you live life, you're living more in a liberty, in a freedom to me. Not bombarded with, you gotta work, you gotta make this amount of money, you gotta stay afloat. If you don't, you sink. There is not I haven't come across that in the 33 African countries I've been to. People, they live and they just do. They don't worry about, I can't say they don't worry about, but I know that they know that as long as today they were able to work and supply their needs, they're good. We in America are more focused on 20 years from now. What our investment's going to be. And we kind of miss life versus here. It's each day is very special and take advantage of it. So that's what I kind of see in my travels.
And I like that because you said that when you were back in the States or back wherever you come from, you always have to be bombarded with.
Yeah.
Now, before coming to Ghana or before coming to Africa, how did you feel doing that preparation? Because from what you said in your video, you used to work in the military.
Yes.
And I know that can be very, very, very challenging, especially when you have to go all over the place. And I want to know, how did it feel for you at that time, moving from there to go to the continent of Africa and leaving all of that behind?
Yeah. That was a great experience growing up as a child in the military. I didn't understand at the time because, you have friends and you get established and then you got to uproot and leave. But that was what made me who I am today, being able to really get out and travel. And it makes it easier for me to adapt. And so when I was in America, I've been to all 50 states. I've been to every major city because I travel that much. And coming to the motherland, it was something that was just a little different in the travels in the continent because it was a little bit more challenging to move around in different African countries. So but I'm able to use my life experience from my growing up traveling, knowing how to adapt and move around. If that answers your question,
So when you hear the word community, what comes to mind to you? And do you feel like Black people have a long way to go with that word?
No, community. Let me say, I said no because long way to go. Community starts with self. If you're unable to connect with yourself, you're not going to be able to connect with others. And, I call it the inner circle, our closest network family is very important because I've seen many people want to try to band people together in a community, yet their own households are in disarray. So it's not hard to really build a community if we start with self and then our inner circle and let it spread outwardly. And I had to come to an understanding that not all people, melanated people, are going to join together because we come from different walks of life where they have divided so many of us into believing we're something beyond than just who we are as a people. So you have people join with other groups and other associations with institutions, corporations, or other agendas to where that prohibits really a collective effort. But community is where you stand in your circle. Many people think that community is outside of, their house, might be a neighborhood or a country. But I think it's easy to start a community when it comes with our knowing who we are. And then it begins to spread outside of who we are. So it's not hard to build a community. I think that we have a disregard for ourselves, ensuring that we are right and we are healthy in order to have a collective effort with other communities to come together to build that one.
I believe that everybody that I interview has their own mantra. What's yours?
I speak of this in my video. The greater creator, the I am that I am, my source of strength, my provider, my protector, the one that I try to pattern my life after, is that model. It is, that's my success, and, there was a time in my life where I was out here in the world doing what I wanted to do. And I understood the repercussions behind it as I got older and decided to change that in a different direction. So I would say, the Most High.
What are 4 major things you want to communicate to the people of the diaspora and the people of the continent of Africa?
I'm going to say that for those who are out, the diaspora, that are outside of the continent of Africa, we are in a very tough situation today in society. And we've taken on a lot of habits, behaviors, mindsets living in these Western worlds, which have done a disservice to us as a people. And if we do not know who we are and where we come from, we get lost, as they say, in the sauce.
Yes.
You lose who you are. You want to emulate and you want to, copy those who are around you. And my message when it comes to, what they would tell us, that we're all the same, which is so far from the truth. We know we're not the same people.
Yes.
We can look at each other and tell we're different people. We can tell we have different belief systems and moral values and work ethics, and we have all of these differences. But what the West want us to believe is that we are all one people. And I'm not convinced of that. The other thing I would like to share with the diaspora is the fact that one needs to come to the continent to appreciate, to even see the difference amongst the tribes of people here. so that then, hopefully that will spark an interest in the, wondering who you are as a person. Because, you're going to find when you do see that connection, it's going to make perfect sense. Maybe why you think a certain way. You might have gravitated towards a certain specialty, a certain skill, a way that you operate in life. You're going to see those connections. And so, I would also, challenge people to come to the continent on that. My fourth thing I would say, to the diaspora is that, we as a people have to, appreciate life more than what we would call a democracy government. I don't believe it has its place in our lives. I believe there's a balance, whether you say democracy, socialism, whether you say communism. We can all have those and operate within a community. Instead of being a one-way, thinker or operator that, in us is in all things. And so I think our loyalty is beyond just these democracy governments. I think we have more connection to, the Most High. And yet that is our governmental body that will bring us even more closer together, because that's what we really have, together in our connection with one another, is that spiritual, that entity that exists.
Now, what are two major things you would like to say to the people of the continent of Africa?
The first thing I'd like to say to the people of the continent of Africa is we are a unit, a one. And I believe that the borders of the continent of Africa needs to be torn down. We're not Nigerian, Ghanaian, and we're not, these countries that they created, the Europeans created. And I think we really need to look at really the connections that we really have before 1885 and get out of that mindset. The other thing I would say to the people in the continent of Africa is that, a lot of the diaspora is coming back to the continent. And so get ready for those who are coming to really connect with you all in order to try to establish a more peace and harmony, not just for themselves, but also you too, to embrace the differences that are coming, to build and develop and assist Africa in the direction that it wants to go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
To go back to Africa. I think that this was a very educational conversation, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that your words will be heard both to the diaspora and the people of the continent of Africa, and I respect it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
We are telling our stories. Until next time, on Summertime.